Hey everybody, how's it going? It's me, John Butter, ringing in the new year with a brand new series, NBC sitcoms. Now when I say that, what do you think of? Parks and Rec, The Office, 30 Rock, even Community? But what of the shows that didn't quite cut it? What about that one sitcom that only lasted 6 episodes or even 3 seasons? Between 2010 and 2019, NBC put out 40-something different sitcoms that did not last very long. Some of them were just flat out bad and deserved to be dissolved into the ether, never to be remembered again. But also, there were some good ones that didn't deserve to get cut so quickly. Which ones are which? Come with me and we'll see in my brand new series, Peacock Graveyard. For the first episode, let's take this all the way back to the year 2010. Obama was in the White House, songs from Glee were somehow charting, and a sitcom premiered on NBC that nobody remembers. That's right, I'm talking about 100 Questions. 100 Questions premiered on May 27th, 2010, and was cancelled on July 8th, 2010, after only 6 episodes. The show was created by Christopher Moynihan, no relation to Bobby. At least, I don't think there is. Anyway, I decided to do this one first because, well, for one, there's only 6 episodes, and also, I have absolutely no memory of this show existing, which is weird because I watched a ton of NBC around that time. You'd think I would have remembered at least one promo for it. Although, to be fair, I don't think NBC did any promos at all for this show. That sounds about right. Anyway, let's get down to bullet points. Who's in it? 100 Questions stars Sophie Winkleman as the main character, Charlotte Payne. You may know Sophie from 2.5 Men, or if you like British sitcoms, Peep Show. Or if you like British royalty, you may know her as Lady Frederick Windsor, because as of 2009, she is married into British royalty. I'm not making that up. She is married to Lord Frederick Windsor, who is the son of the first cousin of Queen Elizabeth II. A little bit tangential, I know, but it's still legit. I think that means that she can cut in line at Subway anytime she wants. Anyway, after Sophie and Frederick tied the knot, they left for LA the very next day because Sophie didn't want any of that British royalty stuff. She just wanted to be an actress. I gotta say, this has been my most favorite piece of trivia that I've uncovered while doing research for this show. I was not expecting to find anything interesting when I was looking this show up. The show also stars David Walton, which I only bring up because I think he's in more failed NBC sitcoms than anyone else. NBC really wanted us to like David Walton in the early 2010s. But we as a society said, no! No, David Walton, no! So I'm really proud of us for that. And that's about it. There's not really a lot much else to talk about, besides the fact that the show creators in the cast are... Oh! Ryder Strong was in that episode. Sean Hunter from Boy Meets World. So what's it about? Well, 100 Questions is about Charlotte Payne, a British woman living in New York. Hoping to find a soulmate, she signs up for this online dating service, which for some reason requires her to meet up with a representative at the head offices and answer a 100-part questionnaire. That really sounds like something that she could do at home, but whatever. So the format of each episode goes like this. The dating services guy asks Charlotte a question, and Charlotte answers with a 20-minute long story about her life. That means that if the show was to continue and they did all 100 questions, Charlotte and that dating service guy would be in that room for over 30 hours. Basically, the show is mostly about Charlotte Payne trying to find love, but often failing because all the men she found were insane. Meanwhile, her friends were also there doing wacky antics and whatnot. It's a sitcom, you know the deal. So how much did I watch? All of it. All 6 episodes. I had to buy the whole season off of Amazon for $12. And I watched every single episode. And I hated it. This show is worse than bad. It's bland. Anytime they had the opportunity to make a creative choice, they always went with the safest, blandest option they could. If this show was a font, it would be Arial. And not even Arial rounded MT bold. Just Arial. Character-wise, there is not a lot to talk about, although I will say that the men have better writing than the women do. The two male leads, Wayne and Mike, they have some semblance of personality and backstory. Meanwhile, the female characters are like, oh, this is Leslie, she's really hung up about an ex. And this is Jill, she flirts a lot. I'm gonna read to you Jill's first spoken line in the show. This is her introduction. Oh my god, look at the third baseman. I don't care if steroids shrunk his junk. I would totally sleep with him. Did I mention this was written by a guy? And then of course there's the main character of Charlotte Payne. Well, what is there to say about Charlotte Payne? Not a lot. The show gives her very little personality and no motivations other than find a mate in life. We're barely told anything else about her life. Like, we barely know anything about her job, which, by the way, is party planning. I mean, we don't even know why Charlotte moved to America in the first place. In one episode, she vaguely mentions that she had to get away from her crazy family back in England. I mean, if that's a reference to Sophie moving away from the royal family, then that's probably the most clever line in the entire show. I think the thing that bothers me the most about Charlotte is she's so passive. She doesn't make any strong choices that would actually make the show interesting. So in the first episode, Charlotte gets proposed to by her boyfriend of 3 months at Yankee Stadium, and she has to turn him down in front of everyone. Because of that, she is vilified on the internet, and she spends the whole episode just feeling miserable and apologetic and just having a bad time. At no point in the episode does she stand up for herself. Ever. And I really would have wanted to see that. But that's pretty much just the whole show, is that things happen to Charlotte Payne, and then she sort of reacts to it. And then the B-plots are mostly nothing. For example, in one episode, the B-plot is Leslie finds a nice pair of shoes that she wants to buy. But they're really expensive. Riveting. Anyway, at the end of the pilot, there's this forced moment between Wayne and Charlotte, where there's this sort of will they, won't they, Ross and Rachel, Jim and Pam sort of moment. And it doesn't work because there was absolutely no indication that Wayne had any feelings for Charlotte until this very moment. Wayne says something like, well, men keep proposing to you because you're you. You're Charlotte Payne. Well, what the f*** does that mean? Who is Charlotte Payne, though? After 6 episodes, I couldn't tell you. The only things I know about Charlotte Payne are she's British and she has taste in men. So what happened to this show? Why did it get cancelled? Well, aside from the fact that it was bad, NBC also buried the show as much as possible. The show premiered on May 27th, a full week after all the major sitcoms ended for the season. And who ever heard of a successful sitcom that premiered in the summer? So not only was it put in an awkward spot in the year, it was also put in an awkward spot in the time slot. It aired at 8:30 in the middle of reruns. And from all the numbers I could find, it constantly got the worst rating out of that whole time slot on NBC compared to reruns. That's gotta sting if you're the show creator. I actually looked up what people were saying about 100 Questions all the way back in 2010 on Twitter. And while there were some positive reviews of the show, it was very heavily negative. The people who were aware of its existence called it a worse version of either Friends or How I Met Your Mother, and they absolutely hated the laugh track. I mean, considering that at the time, the NBC Thursday night lineup was 2 mockumentaries and 2 single camera shows, I mean, the audiences were expecting a certain level of production when it came to their sitcoms, and 100 Questions just didn't match up to it. I mean, maybe if 100 Questions aired on TBS, it would have been fine, but Not on NBC. It never stood a chance. So what did the creator do after this? Well, I guess Christopher Moynihan also realized that he was better at writing for men than he was for women, so his next show was called Man Up on ABC, and that one lasted 13 episodes. Moynihan also co-created the Marlin sitcom in 2017, but we'll get to that one soon enough. Last I heard from him, he was supposed to be writing the script for the TV adaptation of the Kevin Hart movie Night School, but those plans fell through, I'm assuming because of the pandemic. So, final thoughts on the show. Does 100 Questions deserve a remake, reboot, or reunion? No, none of the above. The show is awful. I mean, it's a miracle that this show saw the light of day to begin with. There were no strong characters, no memorable moments, no unique comedic voice. I mean, at the end of the day, it just feels like the show creator had no passion for what he was writing at all. And compared to the other NBC sitcoms that were airing at the time, that's a deal breaker, ladies. Well, that was episode 1 of Peacock Graveyard. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed doing the research. I didn't exactly enjoy watching all of 100 Questions, but, you know, it's whatever. If you have a suggestion for which failed NBC sitcom I should take a look at next, head on down to the comment section, give me a quick suggestion. You can also smash that MF like and subscribe, check out my Patreon, and you can also click the link below to marry a distant relative of the Queen and get free Subway sandwiches for life. It's true. It's in the British Constitution. Look it up. Alright, have a great day, John Butter fandom.